Ladies and gentlemen, from a very sweaty apartment in Hollywood, California, it's the Josh Macuga Show.
All right, that's the wife. She is very excited to do those intros. I was just yelled at to write them down so she doesn't have to prep them.
I need a script here, people.
You guys know, you can see in the top left-hand corner there of the screen that my guest tonight, wherever you kind of are, is the one and only Joslyn Davis. Joslyn, welcome to the show.
Wow. I'm so excited to be on this show. It literally only took a world pandemic to make this happen. It's crazy.
It is something. I went through, a couple days ago, I went through my email inbox, right? And I looked at how many times I wrote you, because I don't delete anything in my email. I check every email, but I'm not like a serial deleter of emails, you know?
Same.
I started emailing you in 2018.
Well, let me tell you, in 2018, my life was significantly busier than it is right now. But I do remember you reaching out, and I was always like, oh yeah, I'm excited to go do your show, because obviously I knew about you. We were totally in the same world and had so many mutual friends. And then I was like, oh, I'm such a douchebag. I have to cancel again, you know? So I'm glad that we're finally making this happen. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, of course. I mean, we came so close. I think one day you actually canceled like 2 hours before we went on the show, which was like
terrible. That's
we were
so rude.
close.
What a terrible person. What was I doing?
Never.
What was I doing? That's the question.
You're a very busy human being, you know, extremely famous, all that in between.
Well, thank you.
And
That's generous.
The crazy part too is the first time we actually met in person was at the Bad Boys for Life premiere.
I know, you know, it's so hilarious because I did not know what that film meant to you.
Oh my God, yes.
So I feel honored to have met you on that special day. And like I said, we have a lot of mutual friends. You were there with Jared, who I know, Ashley and Jared. And we have so many other mutual friends, which is why it's, I guess I felt like I already knew you.
Yeah, in all of like the parties with people, I think we were at mutual parties and just never met.
The common ones, all of the things, I'm sure 100%. We've been in the same room.
Yeah. And now here we are. We were supposed to be in the same room doing the show, but here we are in an internet room, just hanging out. You know?
I know, and I'm in an equally sweaty condo in Culver City. So, you know, we're at least in like the same general vicinity.
Yes, and I have my sweat rag going because I know that it's gonna get hot, which is a consistent theme when we had the show in my actual living room. Is people would come and be like, "Man, it's hot in here." I was like, "Yeah." We would take a hiatus in the summertime simply based on temperature. It wasn't anything else.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny that you say that, because like one of the funny original stories of like when we started Clever all those years ago was that we started it in a garage in West Covina.
Oh my God.
And we, during the summer, would have to start super early because we would just get way too sweaty. Like it was distracting, like beads of sweat, and we had no air conditioning and we were in a garage. So, I mean, this is a glamorous career we've chosen, basically.
It really is. When you have to start your own talk show in your apartment, it's going fantastic.
Honestly, I feel like you've probably actually figured it out, because what's been so interesting, and I'm sure for you too, is seeing all of these like huge budget TV shows and like legitimate famous people like John Krasinski creating content from their homes. And I just think after all is said and done, this is going to like shift so much in our industry. Look at you already know how to do a show in your living room. You're so far ahead.
It's actually my kitchen, Joslyn. That's the big difference of the pandemic Josh Macuga show. I'm in the kitchen.
Great.
So you mentioned when you started Clever. I don't know a lot of the origin story, and I was talking to Sinead yesterday on the phone because I wanted to just get a little bit of backstory. Sinead was basically my introduction into the Clever universe.
That's so wild. Oh my gosh, I love her. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, She is one of the, she's one of the great ones. I was just lucky that I got to co-host the show with her for, almost 2 years. And she was my introduction into this whole thing. And then I randomly ran into Aaron Robinson on a red carpet at Comic-Con. And then I started watching Clever videos, and I was like, I want to make it.
What is going on here?
Yes, but also like I wanted to make a dude version of Clever somehow, and I could never like formulate what that would look like, because you guys really did create. I mean, let's be honest. You're one of the biggest brands that was ever really started at that like beginning of YouTube when the world needed kind of what you guys did.
Totally. It's so funny. I've talked about this so many times, and I actually just made a video for my channel today talking about like some of the backstory behind Clever and like some of my celebrity experiences. So I was taking like this walk down memory lane. And I think for us, the timing of it all could not have been more perfect. It's so hard now. I mean, at this point in like media and digital media to start anything new. At all. And we were so fortunate. We started Clever on YouTube in 2008. And that was actually before any partner program existed. And you couldn't even monetize YouTube videos at the time. Right. So we were really making YouTube videos to then post on a website. Back when people would watch like video content, like, Flash players and the whole thing. So, and we just kind of thought once YouTube started the partner program, we were one of the first people who got invited to be a part of it. And we're like, let's like see what happens. And then it was pretty quickly after that we started to like find our niche with young entertainment news. Because if you remember, and you've been in entertainment forever too, back like 10 years ago, all the TV shows and all the traditional outlets would have never covered someone who was 15 ever. No. It was like, we're talking about like George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Meryl Streep, and listen, they should be talking about those people. They're icons. But there was a lot of world in which those shows would have talked about Disney Channel or like Hannah Montana or Jonas Brothers. And that's where we found our audience. And so it was timing and opportunity. It all just really came together.
Was there a first video that you remember that like kind of did it for you, or on the website? Was there like a clever.com that you were putting on the videos on?
Yes, there was also clever.com, but I have to say, as soon as the partner program launched on YouTube, we kind of really like fully pivoted and jumped into it. I mean, let's be real. We were literally living on corn nuts already. So we were not doing it for the money at the time. If I wanted to be like super, super rich, I probably would have done something else.
100%.
But yeah, to answer your question, there was a video that blew up for us. And I'll never forget. It was the Hannah Montana how to do her hoe down, throw down dance move. And that exploded for us like into the multi-millions. I'm sure if you go to Clever TV, you'll still see that it's one of the most viewed videos like of all time on the channel. And then from there, it was just like, we really jumped into the Twilight Saga. Like I was Josh, I don't know if you covered any of those premieres, but I was like basically living at the campsite with all these people. Like, so we really found our niche in that like young teen entertainment news. And then as time went on, as we got older, we started skewing a little bit higher, a little bit as far as age was concerned, at least. Sure. And launching more channels and all that stuff.
Were you? I'm trying to like. I'm going back because you guys started in 2008. Yeah. I kind of got started like beginning of 2009. Were you at the First Vidcon at that hotel in Century City?
Yeah. You know what's funny, and it's like one of the facts that I always tell people, especially when VidCon comes around. I've been to every VidCon, every single VidCon, and I was at that first one when it was like Hank and John Green like throwing T-shirts out of a closet, and I think like Shane Dawson was there, and Michael Buckley, who is amazing and I'm obsessed with, and a lot of YouTubers who aren't even really making content but were huge at the time. And I mean, my gosh, have you been to VidCon recently?
Okay, the funny part of this is you've never missed the VidCon. The only VidCon I went to was the first one.
Oh my god,
that was it. Yeah,
it's absolutely wild. It's like Comic-Con. I mean, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. Like people like, that are on the internet, like we're not even allowed to walk around. They're like, it's so dangerous. I'm like, this is as close to being like Beyonce or J-Lo that I'm ever going to get.
I love it. I love it.
But it is mind blowing, especially for people like us who have been in this business since it started. Going to VidCon and seeing the level that it's at is just mind blowing because it's a direct reflection of the business and the industry and where it's headed.
And each year I feel like there's like one new YouTuber that like sort of blows up, or a couple new YouTubers. And then there's like old hats like us that have kind of, I mean, you know what I mean? I started my own channel, then I was on Collider, I was with Schmoes. Like we all kind of came up together in a weird way. And then there's like there's a cool little fraternity of YouTubers that remember from back in the day. I still have the original shirt that just said YouTube on it from the first VidCon, and I will not get rid of that t-shirt. That is one of my favorite t-shirts.
That's probably worth money now. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I think back, like I said, on a few names like Michael Buckley's and Shane Dawson is obviously, I mean, there's no one like him. He has managed to not only survive, but like thrive and grow in such an incredible way where he has, I mean, I think in a lot of ways he's more powerful than like cable networks, you know, which is just kind of true when you look at his numbers. But then there's other people who I'm like, whatever happened to so-and-so? Where is that person?
It's like anything, people burn out, you know?
Yeah. And then also, you know, like last year at VidCon, it was so hilarious. Like it was basically TikTok con. There's so many TikTokers, and that's a whole new world. Like it's just really fascinating to see like how things have changed. Like Vine has come and gone, but YouTube has still really remained.
Do we think that TikTok is going to go the way of a Vine?
You know what? I don't know or remember much about like the business side of Vine, but I know TikTok seems to have unlimited money and fun and, you know, growth. And a lot of brands are really starting to hop on the platform. And I think the mistake that Vine made is that they never monetized the platform, and TikTok's not going to make that mistake.
Yeah.
So follow me on TikTok. And you know, the interesting thing too, and I said this, I was doing like this webinar the other day, is that you know, you watch people make YouTube videos and sometimes you can tell they're just like over it. When you watch people make TikTok videos, like they love TikTok. They love it. So that passion comes across, and I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. Are you on TikTok?
I'm on it, but I haven't uploaded a video. And this is from a guy that dances in his kitchen or in his apartment pretty much every day, all the time. It just seems like it's dance videos, right?
Yeah, that's really like the people who are most famous on TikTok have built these audiences around dancing. So I just want to encourage you to lean into that.
Okay.
But like my husband, he's in real estate, and he started a TikTok like last week, and he's only posting like real estate things, like the expensive houses he gets to go to and all this stuff. And like that hashtag real estate is like kind of exploding. So you kind of have to just like find your own little niche, whatever it is.
All right.
And lean into that.
I mean, I feel like I've transitioned from Facebook, and I really enjoy Twitter, and I really enjoy Instagram, right? So that TikTok, I feel like if I can add that on my plate, right? Like you went to a buffet, okay? And you went to the carving station, you already got a couple little things, and your plate is almost full. But you see that guy carving that big thing of roast beef, and you're like, man, I really want that. I don't know if you're a vegetarian or not, but like,
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm absolutely not. The only, like, the reason I would, and I'm like a new adopter of TikTok, the only reason and I'm like drinking the Kool-Aid now, the only reason I would encourage you to do it is because there's like no rules, and people, and there's like no barrier to entry. You could get famous on TikTok in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and there's a huge over 30 crowd, like hashtag over 30. So it's really fun I like watching those videos because I fall into that category.
Yes.
And
me too.
So it's serious. You know, when you, say mine's covered barely. But you know, like making YouTube videos can be stressful. Making TikTok videos to me is just like, well, whatever, you know, so.
Well, that's like the kind of fun thing about this live streaming kind of situation is we just create it. I don't have to edit anything, and I just upload it right to my channel, and I'm happy with the product. Do you know what I mean?
I love that. I absolutely love that. I think that's great.
And that was always kind of how the Josh Macuga show was. And like, maybe sometimes I'd say something stupid, and afterwards my editor would be like, we have to cut that one little part out. But for the most part, it was like a live podcast. It was just, you know, a visual podcast.
That's amazing. And I think like that's what we've been doing a lot too, me and Lily, with our shared channel with our new company, is like, you know, the show must go on, and we're not like out shooting in the field or even at our office or our studio. So it's like Zoom, we're just like Zooming nonstop and doing what we can. And I think it resonates with people because they're doing the same thing. They're just at home too,
Give me the arc of Clever real quick, because we're gonna play a couple little games here real quick, and then we do rapid fire. But when the whole Defy thing went down, I was following it from the Screen Junkies kind of side of it, because a lot of my friends are working there, and from the Clever side of it. And now I know you and Lily have started your channel, and I've watched a lot of your content because I'm a big Lily fan. I'm a big fan of both of yours. And the funny thing too, before we ever met, is you guys both met my wife before you ever met me.
Yes, and your wife is friends with all the girls from Show Me Your Moo Moo, which is one of my favorite brands. So the world is just so small.
Yeah,
I love it.
And I remember when you guys all came in, my wife texted me. She's like, "Do you know Lily and Joslyn?" I was like, "Yes, I know Lily and Joslyn." Like, "Oh, they're great. I love them." I was like, "Yeah, they're amazing."
I love that. Well, the feeling is mutual. You have a beautiful, intelligent wife.
Yes, I married up, as they say. Married way up.
But the arc of Clever, so we started in 2008 in a garage, and there were 4 of us. Myself, Dana Ward, who you might have met over the years. She and I basically were like the faces of Clever for just the 2 of us for a very, very long time. She left Clever, I want to say in like 2014 or something like that, to start another very successful company, a beauty brand, but on Ulta now. So I'm very happy for her. But basically it was the 2 of us, and then Mike Palmer and George Maldonado, and they were the ones who were like running the business side. And, we got on the YouTube partner program. Things started escalating for us. We were still making like no money, but we were ready to go all in. And we got an office in Hollywood, and we started shooting every day, and we got talent contracts and equity in the company, et cetera. And really our goal was to grow Clever and sell it, because we're very much people who like the business side of media as well.
Sure.
So we were a big part of the YouTube 100 million initiative, which was a long time ago. We actually ended up getting funding for 3 channels from Google, and we launched our Spanish language channel, we launched our style channel, and then we launched our news channel with that funding. So Clever was about 7 channels, I think, at that point. And we really worked hard to grow the company, and then we sold it. The 4 of us sold it to a company called Alloy Digital, which was, they had just purchased Smosh. So it was us and Smosh, and we were like a sister brother brand. Cut to a few years later, they merged with Break, which, brought in the Screen Junkies side. And that was Defy Media. And that brought us up to, what was it when everything fell apart? 2018. And then Defy shut down. And then I stepped away from my role at that point. And that's basically the super abridged version of the story. But it was a decade long journey.
So when you sold it, were you like the primary partner? You were always the partner going forward?
There was 4 of us. Dana, myself, and then Mike Palmer and George Maldonado, and they had a larger stake because it was their initial creation. And when we sold Clever, we still had equity in whatever the new company would be and would become. So when Defy shut down, we all did, lose a lot of money, which, where is it? We don't know.
You're not alone. I worked for Break for about a year.
That's right. That's great.
Before the merger. Yeah. And, a lot of different friends, I think, got, it was a very weird few months, because then, because Clever still exists today. You're just not with it.
Right. So so everyone at Defy got laid off, obviously, very abruptly, very out of nowhere. And I can say that I was someone who was kind of on the inside of like knowing what was going on. Like I knew Clever had been very close to being sold previous times, like multiple times. And I knew things were bad for Defy, but Clever and Smosh were doing well. We were like profitable. So I thought we were like never going to have an issue. So all of this was incredibly shocking. I did not see it coming at all whatsoever. And I was one of, I think, like 10 or 12 people that did not get laid off from the entire company.
Wow.
And I was there was a handful of us who were held on to be people to help sell Clever to whatever new company. And you have to think, like, at that point in time, I was not as involved in the business side because, you know, we had sold Clever years and years previously. So it was definitely a fascinating experience to be getting like outreach from heads of media companies and venture capital firms and you know, companies in Asia. They're like, hey, Joslyn, we saw your video. Could we buy Clever? And I was like, I don't even know who's in charge. Sure. What the hell?
Right.
So Clever, yeah, did end up selling to Hearst, which was awesome. And basically through that negotiation process, I realized that it probably wasn't going to work out for me to continue on in the way I wanted to. So I signed a deal to work for 5 days at Clever, and then that was it. But it wasn't really presented to the audience that way, which was like the hard part of all of it. So I never really got to like let people know I was leaving. But beyond that, you know, it is what it is. It was very dramatic. Like, it was crazy.
I mean, every day seemed like a roller coaster, and the way you're describing it now seems like a roller coaster. So it was more like you were always the creative, right? And then you had your toes in the business side, but for the most part, you were the face, you were the creative, you were the one that was making this happen, while people behind you were making all these decisions, and you didn't necessarily have a way to control any of that.
No, not at all. Absolutely not. And, you know, I made this video when Defy shut down, kind of outlining everything. And I had to be like, I don't own Clever. I have no control. I was definitely involved in like the sales and marketing. And I was going out to these big pitch meetings and talking about Clever and like pitching ideas, etc. But as far as like dealing with loans and the bank and all that, absolutely not. I was not privy to any of that information. And quite frankly, I'm really glad I wasn't, because I don't want to get mixed up in that nowadays. You know what I mean? Right. So it was just something I did not see coming at all whatsoever. It was truly crazy. I remember sitting in this room of like 10 people, and the president of the company was like, so we're shutting down right now. And he's like, as you're in this room, everyone's getting laid off right now. They're all picking up their checks right now. And I was like, what? Excuse me? So, yeah, it was crazy. I felt like I was living in like Wolf of Wall Street or something.
I mean, it legitimately is a fire sale going on around you. It's like,
it was. It really was. It really, really was. But I learned a lot from it. I really took away so many great lessons. And I think that's all you really can do at the end of the day is, you know, I just realized like I'm done making other people rich, you know?
Hey, I mean, it's a great way to say it. Yes, it's a great way to say it.
You know?
Now that you and Lily have, I mean, listen, making other people rich is probably one of the most frustrating things on this planet. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
And as somebody who's given away 2 very big ideas, giving them away.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. It hurts. Like it hurts every time I think about it. But you and Lily started your own channel now, and I mean, the unlikely pairing. I feel like you guys are very yin and yang. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So the backstory on Lily is that years ago, I mean, my gosh, it must have been, I think she came on board as we were selling Clever. She was my summer intern. And, you know, I had interns all the time. And I had previously, right before her, had a few that like were a lot more work than help, if you know what I mean. And so one of my girlfriends that was hiring the interns was like, oh, I have this girl, Lily, coming in. She seems really great. And she walked in and I was like, I need to know the whole story. First off, she went to ASU. She's probably just here to party. Like, girlfriend is going to be too fun. She's not going to want to work. Yeah. And we hired her. And she was the best intern I ever had. So much better than anyone I had ever worked with. And like beyond the intern level, that when her internship finished, I was like, we cannot let her go. Like, we have to hire her. I don't care if you make up a job. I don't care if we scrape pennies together. She cannot leave. And she started like working on branded content, and she was like 22. And from there, you know, her position like increased. She started producing content. And eventually, like through a variety of reasons why, we ended up working on the style channel together because it was going to get canceled and no one was paying attention to it. And we knew that we could be edgier because no one was watching. And we just started making these videos because literally our boss was like, we're probably going to get rid of the channel because no one cares. Yeah. And so me and Lily started being in videos together, and then they just started taking off. Really, to her credit. I mean, she was doing everything, producing the videos, creating the concepts. She was being in the videos, even though she had zero aspirations of being on camera. She did not want to be on camera. And then I momagered her into the spotlight like anyone would and forced her to be a star.
Shut up and be a star. God damn it.
Because, you know, you're right. We are very different. And I think that's what's the beauty of YouTube is that people want to see people that relate to them. And you're a comedy guy. Like, you know, there's no comedy in two people who are the same. Like, you have to be different. And we're very different. So people like it, I guess.
Love it. All right. Before we move on, I just need to know, what was Amazing Race like and why?
Oh my, and what was it like and why?
Yeah, because that show stresses the shit out of me. Listen, I am a very malleable human being in the fact that, like, I can put myself in many situations and feel pretty comfortable. But when it comes to traveling, like, I need my hotel. I need my home base.
Yeah, so not going to be the show for you at all whatsoever. So I've been a fan of the show for a really long time, and I just never honestly thought that I would have the opportunity to do the show ever, because I couldn't even get like a few days off of work, let alone a month or however long it took us to shoot. But when they were doing this themed season and they were like recruiting people to audition for the show, it was perfect because I already loved the show and had watched and was a huge fan. And I'm also the opposite of you. Like, I don't mind uncomfortable travel at all. Like, I can camp, I can pee outside, I can do all the things.
I mean, I can pee outside, but Joslyn, I've never been camping and I'm not going.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. What about glamping? You should try glamping.
People have mentioned this glamping, but
you would like it. It's very elegant.
Okay.
So all of us that were on the show, even though it was a theme season of people from the internet, everyone had to go through this like very, very rigorous audition process. And there were a lot of people that auditioned that were like way more famous than us that didn't get on the show. Like Logan Paul and Jake Paul auditioned. I'm trying to think of who else. Like, it's kind of blanking on me right now. But the experience was amazing. I loved it. I mean, sometimes I forget it ever happened, which is so crazy. But you just get to have these experiences that you would never get to have otherwise. Like, when else are you going to get to like run around on the lawn of the UN or like jump into a volcano of mud, like crazy things like that?
Yeah.
Very stressful. Very stressful.
I mean, just watching the show is stressful to me because the ticking clock nature of it all. Like, have you seen the movie Uncut Gems yet? The movie from last year with Adam Sandler?
Because I've heard it'll stress me out too much.
It is 2.5 hour long, just anxiety attack, right?
I can't see that.
And but when I watch that kind of stuff, like some of it looks very fun, but then when me and the wife got in a few fights on the honeymoon, just travel wise. Like, travel stresses people out. I get it. You add that into a game show, and you're recently married. You understand the stress of just traveling with a significant other because everybody's got their ticks.
And on that show, they don't actually, I feel like, show the actual challenging parts of what you're doing because they're not interesting to watch. Like, it's not interesting to watch someone run 12 miles a day with a backpack. And, it's not interesting to watch someone navigate like currency exchange because, they only give you American money and you might be like in Turkey or something. And you're like, what do I do with this dollar bill? Like that kind of stuff. That's very stressful. They don't show because it just doesn't play well visually. But I mean, it was an amazing experience. I met so many cool people. I got to go to so many cool places. And I met my husband through the casting director.
See, I was just going to say.
There you go.
So how did you meet your husband? Because I did get to meet your husband the same time I met you. We'd never emailed before, but he was a lovely guy. He was fantastic. The casting director of Amazing Race, or one of the casting associates, I should say, she also works on like a bunch of the CBS shows. Like, I don't know if you're a Survivor fan. I love Survivor. Okay.
One of my husband's best friends won the show Big Brother and also went super far on Survivor. So he's like a CBS like reality star guy. So he's become really good friends with the casting associate. And, you know, just through that guy, Chris, my husband, became really good friends with the casting associate. Her name is Jody. So when I got eliminated from Amazing Race, Jody was like hanging out with us. And she was like, ooh, I have this guy that, you know, maybe you could work with him. Because they had this startup at the time that was digital. She's like, ooh, or maybe you should date him. And I was like, sure, what the hell? Yeah. And then, you know, that was pretty much it. We met. He took me on a tandem bike ride.
Oh, yes.
I was physically like capable or something. I'm not really sure. And that was like 4 years ago. So it worked out.
Amazing.
Crazy.
And where did you guys get married?
So we got married in Scottsdale, which is where he's from. And we kind of had like a surprise wedding, which was fun.
Love it.
And then we went on a honeymoon in Africa, which was freaking awesome. And when you talk about stressful travel,
yes,
very far away.
Yeah,
very far away. But yeah, it was a great experience. And you and your wife would be amazing on the show. So if you ever change your mind, let me know.
Here's the thing: is if she really wanted to do it, I would suck it up and do it. I just don't think she would want to do that. I really don't. And maybe I could be wrong, and she's in the other room. Maybe she's listening. I don't know. Maybe after this, she's like, I would do it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's not for everyone, for sure.
Did you subscribe to the one headshot per couple thing when you were dating?
What do you mean?
Like you wouldn't date an actor?
Oh, I was like, you know, I was mostly just like, because I'm in my 30s, you know, I've like met a lot of frogs. I was mostly just, like, looking for someone who wouldn't like skin me alive or something, you know?
I met a lot of frogs. I got to be honest, Joslyn. The first time I've ever heard somebody be like, I met a lot of frogs. Like, that's pretty good.
So many frogs. And honestly, I already felt like my life was pretty good. Like I like my family. They live close. I like my job. So I was just kind of like never really looking. And then one day I was like, I'm going to like get a life. I've decided I'm going to like stop working as much and put it out there. And then I met Chris, and he's not in this world really at all. Just kind of now, thanks to like me momaging him too.
Oh yeah.
But I never really thought about it ever. It wasn't something like I took into consideration or thought about consciously, but I think it's nice.
Yeah. Did you?
What about you?
What about me? What
about you guys with your headshot?
No, I was an idiot, and I never really. So people always told me one headshot per couple, one headshot per couple, and like you, I met a lot of frogs.
I love that.
I was never like a serial monogamist, right? Like I didn't really date for long periods of time. I didn't have a girlfriend in high school. I didn't have a girlfriend in college. I was just kind of dated around. When I moved to New York right after college, didn't really have a girlfriend. Moved to LA, kind of had like on and off girls that I would maybe date for like a month or two. And then I got my heart just shattered, right? And I was like, I don't want that anymore. And then about a year and a half later, I was at my best friend's engagement party. And I was the best man in the wedding, and my wife just so happened to be at this engagement party, and it was a kickball game in a park.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I love that.
And she was you know, on my softball team, and I was kind of like heckling her the whole game, kind of playing like a coy, you know, game of cat and mouse, if you will. Yes. And then we were going to Scottsdale for the bachelor party, right?
Love.
And she had just done a bachelorette party in Scottsdale. And I said, oh, if you have any recommendations for Scottsdale, can I get your number? And she's like, absolutely. I have not yet asked her one question about Scottsdale. So, you know.
I love it. But I always, you know, like I talk to like a lot of young people, like teenagers will ask me for advice. And I'm like, you never want to peak too soon. You never want to like meet your like amazing person when you're like 14 or 22 or whatever, because now look how amazing your life has turned out.
I know, right? My wife and I say it all the time. Had she met me when I was in my 20s, there's no way we'd be together. No way.
It's crazy. We say the same thing all the time. Like if we had met in college or even like our 20s, I would have been like, get out of town, man. And he would have not been interested in me either, for sure. And
so the first date was a tandem bicycle? Was it like immediate sparks?
So funny. So we actually, we got back from Amazing Race, and our friend Jody was like, hey, I want to get like this big group of people together to like have a meeting to talk about this startup that Chris, my husband, had at the time. she's like, let's do like a hiking meeting. And I'm just like, what an LA thing. Like, who has a meeting on a hike? Like, let's be serious. But I went. So at the time, he had 2 other business partners that were both guys. And they were all good looking. They looked like an old boy band or something. And I was like, I don't even know which one is which.
Are we going like 98 degrees, or are we going like more in sync?
Ooh, in sync, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was a big fan in the 90s.
Okay. No, of course.
So we met on this hike, but like our first like one-off date was in Venice. We went to a bar and had a few drinks, and then we went on a tandem bike ride. And I was just like, this could go really bad. I was like, am I going to lose all my teeth on this bike? But I'm easily peer pressured, so I did it. Okay. And yeah, he's like a very deep thoughts guy, so I really actually liked that. Like, he was asking like hard-hitting questions and not shallow at all. It was very refreshing. He was very different than any guy I had ever dated, and I thought that was a good sign.
Totally. Especially in Los Angeles, I think, you know, it's really easy to get caught up in the frog life. You just started a whole the frog life, Joslyn. Okay, it's really easy to get caught up in that.
That's actually the phrase you should patent. It's so easy to get caught up in the frog life in LA. Rolls right off the tip of the tongue, you know?
Boom, boom. I love it. And that's, you know, I mean, me and the missus have been on a tandem bike. It was only 2 summers ago, but the tandem bike really is the language of love. I think we all know that.
If you can do it and succeed at it without killing each other, wow.
Yeah. See, amazing. There you go. All right. So speaking of deep questions, we're going to play a little game here. This game is called You Get One Question.
Okay. Great.
I'm going to give you celebrities alive and dead, and you get to ask them one question.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, and then we're going to do a little rapid fire, and then we're going to wrap up.
Okay. I'm excited.
Okay. You get one question for Reese Witherspoon. One question.
One question for Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, you interview celebrities all the time, Joslyn.
I know. Well, I have like silly questions, or I have like legit questions.
Sure. Yeah.
I love her as a businesswoman so much. Yeah. But I just want to know, like, what does she do in her free time? Like, does she have free time? She has 3 children and a company and a spouse, and she seems to have a lot of friends.
And she also acts in everything. Like, acting takes a lot of time.
Does she have free time, and what does she do? Or is she a vampire? Honestly, yes. Is she having HGH? Like, what's happening?
Because I will be honest, we just finished that Big Little Fires show.
Oh, how is that? I haven't watched it.
It's great. It's really good. Besides the fact that I would say out of the scenes that she's in, Kerry Washington cries in 95% of the scenes. Like, she cries in every scene. It gets a little exhausting, but she's such a good actor. I don't know. But it's a very interesting show. Kerry
Washington is so good at crying, though. Did you
watch,
why am I blinking? Olivia Pope.
Scandal.
Yes. She's so beautiful when she cries that it's like, I appreciate it.
In this one, she cries a lot. So I would like to get your opinion, but it's good. It's very interesting.
And also Reese Witherspoon has like the coolest friends. Like she's like friends with like Mindy Kaling and Laura Dern and like all the people who are in Big Little Lies. I just feel like she's so cool, but like in an approachable way. You know?
And let's be honest, there's not one actress on this planet that could make Legally Blonde work. That there just isn't. It's Reese Witherspoon.
They're supposed to be doing another one, right?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
I can't wait. I'll ask her my hard-hitting question if I get into the junket.
Love it. Okay, you love fashion. How about one question for Coco Chanel?
Oh my gosh, like Coco Chanel, do we really have to pare it down? Like Coco Chanel's mantra is put a bunch of stuff off and always take at least one thing off. Like too much is too much. I think more is more. So for Coco Chanel, I would just be like, have you ever thought about like loosening up a little? You know?
Well said. Well said.
Just a little.
This is one of my buddy Cal. He jumps in all the shows. He's an awesome guy. He said, "Living my best frog life." So
I love that for Cal.
Yeah, love it for Cal. You get one question for Dave Chappelle.
Oh my gosh. Who gets the drunkest at your shows? Because he's well known to do these like secret comedy shows that like the most famous people in the world are at. And I've heard from people who have been at them that everyone's like out of control. So I want to know who's the most out of control.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good question. It's a very inside baseball. You get one question for Britney Spears.
Oh my gosh. Are you okay? I love you. Are you okay? I love you so much. I'm so invested in her, Josh. I'm invested in everything, her happiness. Like, I need her to be okay.
As a person that went to her Vegas show with my, like, we were there for a birthday party. There was a bunch of couples that went. And listen, I'm so comfortable in my heterosexuality. I love Britney Spears. I don't care. Like, she's a hit maker. Okay. Everything she touches is a hit. That meltdown period of her life, I was legit concerned for Britney Spears.
Me too. Thank God for her father, Jamie. He's taking good care of her.
My goodness.
Yes.
All right. One question for Albert Einstein.
Oh my gosh. Like what do you do for fun? Like, isn't being that smart, like boring at a certain point? I don't know. Does he have friends?
I would find it so tough to be that smart. Like, be the smartest person in the room that your brain is so much better than everybody else.
It would be that. It would be like really a downer to just feel like everyone you talk to kind of sucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't know what that feels like.
I'm always just capable enough in the room to carry on a conversation.
Same.
Okay. So, funny story about like interacting with smart people. So I go to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena. Where NASA is? Okay?
Yes.
So I went to interview Jonathan Nolan about the writing of the movie Interstellar. It was like a junket.
Crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
So they put us in a room with like a bunch of NASA scientists, and they take us around, and we have like a one-on-one conversation with a bunch of these guys. Joslyn, if you could see the facial expressions when I ask some of these guys questions, like, what if we just shot trash into space? Wouldn't that? And they're like, can't shoot. And I'm like, so what if we dug all the way through can we go through the earth? Like, how fast? And he's like, all right, man, like, this is, I was like, all right, that's cool. No big deal. It was very, very funny, to the point where,
like, how much am I being paid to be here today?
Who is this bearded idiot? Yeah, that's really well said.
Oh my God,
right.
I love it.
We went to his movie premiere. You get one question for Will Smith.
Oh my gosh. Would you ever do a Fresh Prince movie?
Oh.
Right?
Yes.
That would be amazing.
God.
That would be so cool. Because that's how I discovered him as a kid, was on Fresh Prince.
We all did.
And like, where are all of those characters now? Like, what are they doing? I know that Carlton is hosting America's Funniest Home Videos, but like, where's everybody else?
I'm with you. Where's Hillary? Where's Ashley?
Hillary.
Where's Ashley? What happened to what's her name? What was her name? That actress, Tatiana.
Oh yeah.
Ali.
You know what? I think she's on Instagram.
She's gotta be at this point. Gotta be.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna give you two people. You get one question for Donald Trump, and you get one question for Melania Trump.
Oh my gosh. Melania, like, are you okay? Do you need a rescue? Oh my gosh. And for Donald, like, I obviously have a lot of thoughts and questions, but I'm genuinely curious, like, what his self-tanning regime is. Like, what products is he using? I don't want to use them.
I mean, not to get political, but it's a very solid question. What is his skincare routine, if there is one? I'm very
curious. I'm actually genuinely curious. I have a friend, funny story, like really quick, who her first job out of college was working for the Miss Universe production organization, which was when Donald Trump he owned the Miss Universe thing, the Miss USA thing. And my most favorite story is that she was setting up production for Miss Universe, and there was like a hole in the stage and she accidentally fell through it. And he just like came over and stood over it and was like, get her out of there. Like didn't like put a hand down to like help her, but was just like, this girl fell in the hole. Grab her.
Your Trump, by the way, is spot on. Like it is a spot on.
Really good at acting.
All right, I'm going to give you one more, and then we're going to go into rapid fire. You have one question for Kim Kardashian.
Oh my gosh.
I will say this, Joslyn. You said, oh my gosh, after each person I've asked.
Because it's so hard only having one question. I think that's why we get into this business, because we are like naturally so inquisitive. And I have so many questions. I have, however, met Kim Kardashian. So, don't want to inspire her too much. But I would be curious to know, like, what is her actual goal? Because I think she's so smart. I think she's so intelligent. I'm a huge fan. I think she's very kind. I think she's a good person. And all of the stuff that she's doing to be like a freedom fighter, getting people out of prison, I think is just the tip of the iceberg of what she could potentially do. So I want to know, like, what is her ultimate goal? Is she actually going to become a lawyer? Because she said that at one point. So
what is her ultimate goal? Because honestly, that's a very good question. I will say this. As much shit as the Kardashians get from every comedian, every person on this planet, it is kind of a shame that the whole family was launched off a sex tape, because at the end of the day, all of those girls, including the momager, right, are kind of business geniuses in the fact that they've been able to catapult their life. Like maybe Keeping Up the Kardashians doesn't get as popular as it does, but it does, okay? And you could have become an absolute punchline. But instead, they just launch it into these mega. I mean, that whole family's worth multiple billions of dollars right now.
I mean, honestly, in my opinion, they signed a deal with E a couple years ago for like a multi-season, whatever. They did a deal with them for like $100 million or something, right? That's like nothing for them.
Right. That's nothing.
In my opinion, E and all the shows are just their marketing arm. You know what I mean? For all the other stuff they're doing. And Kris Jenner, I mean, she can momager me any day she wants to, but I think she is an absolute genius.
I was at, and this is, not exactly known to not do stupid shit. Like at every turn, it's always like, oh, don't worry, Macuga will take care of this. He's got this, right? So I was at a celebrity birthday party, and I saw Kris Jenner, and I had a couple cocktails, right? And I went up to her, and this was like 2014, so it wasn't like where we are now, where they are like media moguls and they have security around them, right? It was just a birthday party at a celebrity's house, okay? And I went up to her and I said, would you want to be my best friend? Could I just hang around you? And she was like, and she looked at her friend like it was something, you know what I mean? But listen, if I've got one chance to make a first impression on Kris Jenner, that's what I'm getting here.
It's really fun. But the time that I met all of them all at once. And they were so nice and generous and like truly like the most like alien beautiful, like so pretty. I'm like, are you real? Like, are you wearing a skin suit? So I'm impressed also with the fact that like they all seem to care about each other. And like, I always think people who have like close family or friends are like, that's a sure sign you're not a serial killer, you know?
No, yeah.
So
I've always found it weird. Like
them.
my brother had cancer last year.
Oh,
and
sorry.
Every time I told somebody here in LA, they'd be like, are you and your brother close? Yes, he's my brother.
Also, that's like such a weird follow-up.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, of course.
It is a thing in LA though. It's funny because my family lives like relatively close by. I grew up in the suburbs of LA.
Lucky.
And I always say like, oh, I'm going to stay in LA probably forever because my family is here. And then I have to follow it up with like, and I like them. It's kind of weird, but
right, it is. And my dad and I talk about it all the time. My mom is one of 3, so it's not a big family. My dad's one of 8 kids, and they all still talk to each other all of the time.
Those Macugas! Oh my gosh! Wow, where does everybody live?
In Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Nobody left. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So like my dad's family is so big that on Christmas we have to have it at my uncle's bar because that's the only place big enough to house everybody.
Oh my gosh! Like, can I come? I love bars.
Well, I will say it is the most fun way to have a Christmas is at a bar. When I brought Amanda to Pittsburgh for the first time, I said, just so you know, when you walk in, it's going to be very overwhelming. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of names to learn. Don't feel like you have to learn the names. It's just a lot of people. She's like, I'm fine. I love people. She walked in and was like, whoa. This is a lot. Because
it's like a whole high school full of people inside of a bar. That's crazy.
yes, yeah, it's wild.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, those Italian Catholics in the 40s and 50s were really getting after it.
I love it.
All right, let's do some rapid fire questions. 3 minutes. Joslyn,
Okay.
oh my gosh, Davis, are you ready?
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm ready.
Let's go. You ever said, let's go out dancing?
Yes, of course.
What drink do you always order at the bar?
Like a Pinot Grigio, just like a Real Housewife of Orange County.
Oh yeah. Biggest celebrity crush?
Oh my gosh, LeVar Burton. Reading is the hottest. Love
Reading
him.
Rainbow. I was on a flight with him one time.
Stop.
Queso dip or guacamole?
Guacamole, green gold, all the way.
Soap or body wash?
Body wash. Far less drying on the skin.
What'd you say?
Body wash is far less drying on the skin.
Gotcha. No. All right. Do you wash your hands after you go to the bathroom every time? I guess in a pandemic, yeah, we have to.
Yes, especially now, yes.
What celebrity would you like to speak at your funeral?
Oh my gosh. See, there I go. Oprah. I would love Oprah to speak about me. I would love to hear what she has to say.
Well said. Mozzarella sticks or fried calamari?
Oh, mozzarella sticks.
Have you ever painted a picture?
Yes.
Fish or chicken?
Fish.
Chicken or steak?
No, steak.
Most money you've ever spent on a bar tab?
Oh gosh, not that much actually. Maybe no, that's a lie. One time I spent like $700.
Whoa, J-Bones,
That
nice.
was a birthday.
Did OJ do it?
Definitely.
Yeah. You ever told someone you love them when you didn't?
Yes. Definitely.
Minute 30 left. Sopranos or Breaking Bad?
Sopranos.
If you had a really attractive stalker, would you be okay with that?
How attractive? Just kidding. No, not now.
Elton John or Billy Joel?
Elton.
Did you ever fail a class in high school or college?
No.
Are you a cuddler?
Yes.
Flip cup or beer pong?
Oh my gosh, I'm so bad at all of those things. Let's say flip cup.
Tap water or bottled water?
Tap water.
Do you take vitamins?
Drink it
I
constantly.
love tap. Do you take vitamins every day?
Yes.
Should a guy wear a cowboy hat ever?
Yes.
M&M's or Reese's Pieces?
Reese's Pieces.
NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
In sync.
Go-to karaoke song?
There's a hero if you look inside yourself.
Do you floss?
Not enough. Don't tell anyone.
You ever been skydiving?
No.
Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune?
Wheel of Fortune.
Have you ever stayed friends with an ex?
No.
Anyone ever thrown you a surprise birthday party?
Yes.
20 seconds. Do you have any tattoos?
No, not yet.
Favorite pizza place in the world?
Lou Malnati's.
Oh, in Chicago. Well done. Are you a fan of strip clubs?
No.
Is your MySpace profile still active?
I don't know. I would love it.
I don't know my password and I don't know what email it goes to.
I have no idea.
Beach or pool?
Beach.
Indiana Jones or Han Solo?
Indiana Jones.
Ron Burgundy or Ron Swanson?
Ron Burgundy.
Is Kinko's overpriced?
Very.
Joslyn Davis. Oh my gosh, you crushed it. You're the best.
Gosh. I am so sweaty right now.
Oh my, I don't even want to open my arms. It's so bad. You don't even wear sleeves, you cheater.
I know, because I have one armpit that sweats way more than the other, and my belly button sweats a lot. It's like a whole issue that I have. So
the amount of chest hair I have underneath here is an unfortunate sweating situation. It's just a lot. Well, it took a pandemic to finally get you on the show. And maybe when this is all over, we can do something in person together. Maybe a double date with the husband and the wife.
Love that. I would absolutely love that.
You're an absolute treasure, and I love watching your stuff.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much, Joslyn. Just you can plug on your way out anything you want to plug and tell people about.
Sure. You can check me out, Joslyn Davis, on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Hit me up on TikTok. And then my company, Shared Media, which we're also on YouTube. Honestly, if you Google me, you'll be overwhelmed and you might question your decision, but I'm everywhere.
You're the best. Thank you again so much for being on the show. Stay safe and tell your husband I say hey.
You too. Thanks,
Bye.
Josh.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. All right, there you have it. Joslyn Davis on the Josh Macuga Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for watching live. Thanks for watching it now. Thanks for being really nice people all around. And make sure you guys stay safe. And it's really easy to get negative right now. It's really easy to look at things being wrong when if we just try and stay positive, hopefully we get through this and we can all hang together because, as they say, we're in this together. And I'm not here without any of you guys. And spread the love. It's way easier to love than it is to hate. It's way easier to love than it is to hate. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you Sunday. Heather McMahon on the Josh Macuga Show, and then Monday, Jeff Canada on the Josh Macuga Show, right here on YouTube Live, 3 p.m. West Coast time in the United States on Sunday, 3 p.m. West Coast time on Monday here in the United States. And make sure you guys check out Eating History on the History Channel, 10 p.m., 9 Central, and then 10 p.m. on the West Coast. It's going to air in Canada soon and in the UK and international. So thank you guys all for tuning in. Until the next time, we'll see ya.